Hotel Mumbai is a 5-star Hotel California of our very worst nightmares. Because of the multitude of attacks by Islamic terrorism in Europe and in America over the last couple of years, we do have this fascination with acts of terrorism and probably an overreaction. I mean, to take it logically, we're probably more likely to be struck by lightning than to be engaged in a terrorist attack. However, it has a disproportionate reaction, and that in a way makes the perpetrators of this all the more powerful and all the more successful in what they want to do, which is to spread terror, because the general populace tend to overreact and cancel flights and holidays to Paris and beautiful cities like that as a result.
Goodbye.
Welcome to the Taj, home to statesmen and celebrities for over a century.
Wow.
This film probably will feed into that morbid fascination that we have with terrorist attacks. Certainly isn't any glamorizing of the violence or the perpetrators of the attacks, and the director just puts it straight up, the horror and also the heroism that confronts it.
Look, I don't think you understand. There's been an attack and we're not safe.
Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in America was gratuitously violent, certainly in the last 10%. You could take that with a pinch of salt, in that it is essentially completely fake, and in that case, very contrived and ruined the film, in my opinion. However, the violence in Hotel Mumbai is brutal, it's indiscriminate, it's totally remorseless, and the worst part of it is that you know it's based on fact, and it's very closely aligned with the actual facts of the terrorist attack that did take place. That makes the film all the more brutal and all the more arresting and all the more disturbing.
Remember always, here at the Taj,
Thank you. We hope you'll have a good stay.
guest is God.
This is a film that is very hard-hitting, not for the faint-hearted, in that you are witnessing extreme violence close up of characters with whom we've developed a bond with. Some are disagreeable characters, but most are normal human beings going about business or family holidays.
Switch off the lights. Under the tables.
Terrorists have laid siege to the landmark Taj.
I suppose the aspects which relieve that are the themes of loyalty, but also a theme of heroism. There are moments of extreme heroism throughout the film whereby ordinary people, particular ordinary hotel staff, do extraordinarily brave acts in order to save the guests at the hotel. And while we might question some of their decisions throughout the hotel attack, I mean, it's difficult to know whether the decisions were the right ones, in that they, at one moment in the hotel when the attack has happened, they make the decision to move guests upstairs to the 6th floor. And you do kind of wonder whether moving upwards throughout the hotel might have been the right decision, rather than trying to go downwards towards the basement, where obviously escape exits might have been more accessible.
Oh, look at that. It's amazing. There's a whole other room back here.
So the Islamic terrorists that engage in these attacks throughout Mumbai are as cold-hearted as can possibly be. Their execution of the people is totally indiscriminate and heartless, and there's no sign of any remorse whatsoever. In fact, they're all communicated with by the controller, who is the bull, and he directs them to execute the people as much as possible. He, in fact, it says the world is watching, and he, in fact, encourages them to put them up against a window so that the news cameras outside can see the executions as they happen. So it is as brutal and unforgiving as can be.
Let's move.
The director, I think, tries to introduce some element of humanity into the attackers by showing one particular attacker who does start doubting his mission. He rings his family, and he starts to doubt whether the money that has been promised to them by the master controllers, the bull, will be paid to their family after they engage in the suicide mission. So he rings his family, and his family, and it's a very emotional moment for him. It's the first time we see any emotion from the attackers, and he rings his family, and his family are saying how proud they are of him. He asks them, have they transferred the money yet? And his father says that they haven't. And it's clear, or it's certainly suggested, that nothing will be transferred to the parents, that they will not be compensated for this grotesque blood sacrifice that they're about to engage in.
We should try to gather whoever we can. Many of you have families at home. There is no shame in leaving.
I've been here 35 years. This is my home.
One of the perhaps sub-themes of this film is loyalty. And in this case, it's a tremendous loyalty to a particular job or to a vocation. Employees in the Hotel Mumbai, utter chaos outside in India. When the terrorists arrive on the beach is completely polluted, plastic everywhere, and it's a scene of total and utter environmental and societal chaos as they go through the city planning their terrorist attack. Real sense of claustrophobia as they go into the train station, and there's thousands of commuters pushing past them, and you do get that feeling of complete impending doom. You know how magnified it's going to be given the scale of population density.
You don't know how many there are, where they are.
So there's this total chaos between what's going on outside in the real world in the city of Mumbai, and then internally inside in the Hotel Mumbai, this 5-star or possibly even more than 5-star hotel, there's this surreal air of luxury, of completely over the top expectations. For instance, the one particular guest wants the bath temperature at 38 degrees Celsius, and they continually measure that temperature to make sure that that's maintained. And the mantra that the hotel staff adopt is that the guest is God.
My kids upstairs. Do you have a family?
Yes. And I hope to stay alive and see them.
No one's coming for us.
We go down the back stairs and straight out the service exit. If they hear us, we'll all die. We take our chances.
The mantra that the hotel staff adopt is that the guest is God, that the customer is king, but the guest is God sounds like a really intense, in some cases guests who, in the case of the Russian billionaire, are particularly despicable people who don't pay any respect towards the hotel staff and are ever demanding and not grateful in any way. So that sub-theme is there of intense loyalty towards the job. And when the terrorist attack hits the hotel, the head of the kitchen gathers his staff around and says, I understand, anybody who wants to leave, there's the door. And the vast majority of the staff stay, and these staff are true heroes, which subsequently saved the lives of countless numbers of people.
Chaos has erupted in Mumbai, with multiple bombings and armed gunmen rampaging through the city.
Other examples of heroism are the local Mumbai Police, who, it's quite clear, are very badly, poorly equipped, and perhaps don't have any training in grappling with such a particularly difficult challenge. However, they're resolved to go in and challenge it head on in any case. And we see them up against the attackers who have grenades, who have automatic machine guns, and they are brandishing pistols, and they're counting their bullets. In one case, I think they have 6 bullets left, and they still charge in to try and confront the attackers. So they are particularly heroic, and it's only until the very end that the special forces from the capital of India arrive in New Delhi, and it's particularly frustrating how long it takes for them to arrive. And
Local police are simply not trained to deal with attacks of this magnitude.
Don't open the door, it's them! Out!
Terrorist attackers are seen as being extremely cold-hearted, and the way they dispatch their victims it's as if there is absolutely no emotion. They eat from the restaurant and taste some of the desserts, while at the same time machine gunning guests, and it's completely nonchalant. And it shows throughout the film the brainwashing that they receive from their controller, the bull, who encourages them to push the the violence to ever more extreme levels. He encourages them to that these are just infidels and they're worth nothing. He tries to totally dehumanize their victims. Even
I'm scared. We all are. But to get through this, we must stick together.
this distribution-wise, this film is a sign of the times in that it's a Sky Cinema production. So it'll be released in cinemas, but also on Sky TV at the same time. So it's probably a model of how films will be released in the future, so that the online Netflix and other packages will be releasing films as well as probably competing with the cinema, or else distributing in parallel. So this is a pretty intense, sometimes gruesome, very violent film, which is peppered with moments of extreme heroism against extreme violence. Gives us some hope in that it does show the beauty of the human spirit in its capability of extreme bravery and extreme heroism in the face of mindless terrorist attack.